Hello and welcome back to Roll the Game. In this video I'm going to show you how to play Quorum, a game by Raul Franco and Fran Martínez. This is a game for 2 to 4 players, lasts about 45 minutes, and it's recommended started at age 14. As usual, I'll start by showing you how you score this game, then I'll show you how to play this game, I'll give you some hints for the first game, and then I'll show you how to set this game up. Now, unlike most of my other videos, in this video you'll see that the game scoring section is a lot longer than the gameplay section. Having said that, the game scoring section is also not that long. It's not a very complicated game, but you'll see it when we get there. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe on the button below. But now let's get started with Quorum.
Rule the game.
Quorum is a turn-based game. In every turn, every player gets to put down a card in front of themselves. And once everybody has 12 cards in front of themselves, the game's over. We then start scoring, and we first score your own cards, and then there is a central piece called the provinces, and then we score those. We'll start first with your own cards. As you can see, those are here my 12 cards. And there are 4 different types. You see those in the different colors of those cards, but also up here in the symbol on the top right. There's also a player's guide that will tell you how to score this part of the game, and then it will also tell you on the other side how to score this part. Now first we're going to have a look at the military cards. The military cards are these green cards. Now what you're looking for here is either pairs or groups of cards that have here shields with consecutive numbers. So for example, this is a pair with a 2 and a 3. And here we have a group of 3, even with 1, 2, 3. A pair will give you 5 points. A group will give you 10 points. Next we'll look at the trade cards. Those are the blue ones. And here we're going to look at symbols that you have more than once. If you have a symbol twice, like the anvil here, you'll get 2 points. If you'll have an item 3 times, then you get 4 points. And should you have a product 4 times or more, you'll get 6 points for it. Next, we're going to look at architecture. The red brownish cards here. Here we're only going to look at cards that have different symbols in them. So over here, the temple that exists twice will only count as 1. And so what we're counting here is how many different symbols do we have? We have 2. 2 different symbols will give you 4 points. And if you have more or less symbols than these 2 that I had, then you get points according to this table that is shown here on the screen. And lastly, we have here the intrigue cards. For the intrigue cards, you get as many points as you have cards, multiplied times the cards that have a 3 in a shield, and I have 2 of those. So I'll get 2 times 2, a total of 4 points from the intrigue cards. Now, as we go through these different cards, the players will then take their wreaths here that are in the middle, and they will count the points here in the victory tracker that goes around the central board. Should you pass the 40 once, you can flip this wreath over, and then you have a number 40 in the back. Same, of course, goes for the other 2 players. So this is what you do with your own cards. Now in the central piece you see the 6 different provinces, and we're going to score each one of them separately. We'll start somewhere and then you go either clockwise or counterclockwise as you wish, and you score every single province. We will start here in Germania. The way the provinces are scored is that you take the leader, and the leader gets whatever number it says here, it's a 3 in this case, 3 times the number of yellow cards in this case. So I get 6 points here for my 2 cards that I have, and I'll move my tracker here by 6. The second person, the person with the second highest score on this tracker here, will then get this number minus 1, so only a factor 2 times the number of yellow cards that they have. And of course the person who has the third highest points, and later also the 4th person, it always decreases by 1 the further you go down. So this person will just get 1 times the number of yellow cards. Same when we go to Gallia. Here, yellow will get 3 times the number of green cards that they have. Blue will get 2 times the number of green cards, And because pink didn't even make it on the boards, they didn't even make it on the 1 here, they will not get any points at all. Macedonia gives you points for the red brownish cards that you have here, because we have 2 of these things in the lead here, the pink and the yellow. It's actually the token here on the bottom that will be in the lead, that will have won this province. So pink will get 2 times the number of the brown cards, and yellow will get only 1 times the number of brown cards. Blue won't get any points at all because we only have factor 2 here that we can give away. Same over here, only yellow will get the points in this case, and they'll get 1 times the number of cards that they have with a 1 shield. I personally here would have 2 of these 1 shields, so even if I won this, I would only get 1 times 2 points. And then you would do Hispania and Asia the same way. Once you've scored this, the person who has the most points here will win the game. And in case of a tie, the person who got more points in the provinces will break the tie. As I mentioned before, Quorum is a turn-based game. On your turn, you'll start with 4 cards in your hand. You'll pick up a card from Rome. That's those 5 cards here that are open, faced in front of you or in the middle of the table. You'll pick up one of those cards. You'll put it in your hand. You'll then take one of the cards that you have in your hand and you'll put that card down in front of you. So at the end of your turn, you're back to 4 cards in your hand. Now, as you put down your card, you'll have one action that you'll have to do. And so what you do is that you go to the red province, because you have here the red symbol. You go to the red province, you'll take your preg, the one in your color, and you'll move it by whatever number it says here. So you move it here onto the 3, because that's what I put down. I'll then refill here Rome with another card, and it's the next player's turn. Should another player now have to move 3 here in Africa with their marker, they will place their marker on top of yours. Of course, later on, if pink moves again, they won't move both of them. They'll just move the pink and leave the blue one behind. And most of the time, that's exactly all that happens during your turn. There are some exceptions. The exceptions are the god cards that look like this. Whenever a god card is on top of the deck and you have to refill Rome, you won't turn around the god card, you'll just place the god card this way. Now, if a player wants to pick up a god card, they can of course do this. They'll then pick up that card and they'll get to do an action with whatever this card says. First, they're going to have to select one of the provinces that is going to be the one where they're going to move their point marker. So let's say I'm going to place it right here. I want to move my marker here on Macedonia. I'll take my marker, I put it on the 1. As you can see here, the color, there's no color, meaning that's a neutral color, and you can decide which province you want to move. So, but if you decide to move here, you're going to move it by 1, as it says here. And then what happens is that you're going to move the counter markers, these here, by however much it says here. So if it says +1 here, means that this token here will get moved from a 2 to a 3. Actually, you see on the 2 has a 1 in the back, so we'll take another one here and make it a 3. Same over here. This is also +1. This also moves to a 3. The token below the province where you just moved will not change. Only the 2 on the other side, and they can move by +1 or -1. Sometimes you have pluses on both sides, sometimes you have a minus on both sides, sometimes you have a mixture. That can change. Now, in case of the god cards, be aware that a 4 cannot be increased any further, and similarly, a 1 cannot be decreased any further. Now, once you've done this move, once you've moved your point marker here on this province and you've changed these 2, you'll actually take this god card in your hand. And now what you need to know is that you can never play this god card. So you can never have more than 3 god cards in your hand. At any point, you can only have 3 at the most. And I can now play one of the others. And that's what we're going to do here. Again, I will then move now here my point marker in the yellow province, that's this one, by 1, so right here. And that will be the end of my move. Of course, I will open here another card for Rome. In case there are 3 god cards here in Rome, the active player can decide if they actually want to get all those cards out of the way. They'll take the 5 cards out. In this case, you saw there were no god cards. Let's assume there were 3 god cards. If they'd have been the case, you then take 5 new cards from the top of the deck, and you'll shuffle these cards that we've taken away back into the deck. And that's it. These are all the rules you have to know to play Quorum. And here are some hints for the first game. Now, to be perfectly honest, as you probably noticed, this is a point salad. You have points that you get in your cards, you get points from the provinces, and so on. I personally suggest to you, try to really work out a high score with the cards that you collect to yourself. You have these 12 cards, try to make them make as many points as possible, be it with green, with the military, or with the different monuments and so on. Try to make this really work out, because especially for your first game, that's the easier thing to do. Trying to work out the provinces in the middle, how to deal with this, how to really win a province and so on, is rather complicated for your first game. Some of you might figure that out faster than others, how to work with the provinces. Maybe you start just working on the provinces once you have 6 cards or so, because then at least you know what you have in front of you. You kind of can figure out where you even have a chance to compete, because you have a certain number of cards, because it makes no sense to work on a province where you don't actually have the cards for it. So even if you win a province for, let's say you win here Germania, but you don't have any of the yellow cards, what's the point? So try to first maybe try to collect some cards, and after a few cards, once you see what you still have in your hand, then try to figure out, okay, which province could really give me points, and then maybe you can go for a province and try to claim it. But I would say try first to figure out your own game with your 12 cards that are in front of you, and I think that's complicated enough as is. But I think you'll get into it very quickly, and after you've played it once, and it doesn't take as long as it says. It says 45 minutes, I don't think it takes quite that long, so play a second game. In the second game, you'll understand a little better how things move, and then so you can actually push a little harder to also get points from the provinces and not just from your own deck. And that's Quorum. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please subscribe below. And up next, how to set up the game. To set up the game, you'll take the circle piece. You then take the 6 different provinces and you put them here around the circle in random order. Then you take the multiplication tokens, put them next to the circular board here, and you'll put the factor 2 on all the different provinces. Next, you take the point markers here for the different provinces for all the players that are in the game. That's 2 to 4 of them, and you place them in the center of every province. You also have the victory point markers. The instructions tell you to actually put them here in the center before you get started. I personally suggest that you keep the one that is yours in front of you so that you remember which color you are until the end of the game. And then once you start counting points, then you can actually put it here in the point tracker, but before I will keep it with you. Every player gets a player's guide, and then we'll take all the cards, we'll shuffle them, we'll set them next to the board, we'll open up 5 of them, that is Rome, and then we also hand every player 4 cards for their starting hand. Once we've done that, we'll take all the god cards, we'll shuffle them into the other deck of cards, the rest of it, and once we shuffle them in, we'll place it next to next to Rome, and we're actually ready to go.